Welcome to this analysis. Today, we're diving deep into something that's going to fundamentally reshape the future of the sport we love. We all know the historical frustrations of modern football, right? The endless time wasting that kills the rhythm, referees getting swarmed by angry players over every minor call, and the absolutely unacceptable rise of racist abuse on and off the pitch. Well, FIFA has finally responded, and the changes are massive. So let's get right into it. The big question hanging over all these new directives is this: will these rules change football forever? Because when you really look at the source material, it becomes super clear that the 2026 World Cup isn't just another tournament in a new host country. It's a massive, high-stakes operational overhaul. We're not just talking about how the ball rolls, but how the game is governed at its very core.
Section 1. The 2026 Mega Tournament. To actually understand these new rules, we first have to wrap our heads around the sheer scale of this thing. We are talking about a massive expansion from the usual 32 teams up to 48 national teams. That means a staggering total of 104 matches. When you're running a mega event like this, broadcast live across the entire globe, you literally cannot afford endless delays. Every single minute counts. Practically speaking, this gigantic format needs some tweaking. The 48 teams will be split into 12 groups of 4, which introduces a brand new knockout stage, the round of 32. But here is the absolutely crucial point for player discipline. In a marathon tournament like this, suspensions could completely ruin the event. To prevent players from missing crucial games en masse, single yellow cards will be wiped clean twice, once after the group stage and again after the quarterfinals. It gives players a little breathing room, which, as you'll see in a second, they're definitely going to need.
Section 2. The war on time wasting.
We've all felt that sheer frustration when the ball is actually in play for only like 50 minutes of a 90-minute game. Well, FIFA's first weapon in this battle is the number 5. Referees are now going to use a visible 5-second countdown for throw-ins and goal kicks. If the ref thinks a player is dragging their feet, they'll raise their hand and literally count backwards from 5. If the ball isn't played before time's up, boom, immediate loss of possession. If it's a delayed goal kick, the other team gets a corner. It's basically a shot clock just like in basketball.
And here's another magic number for you, 10. This is the new, super strict 10-second limit for substitutions. You know the exact scene at the end of a match. A player gets subbed off, and they do that agonizingly slow, snail's pace walk off the pitch. They applaud the fans, hug the ref, taking the full red carpet stroll just to burn time off the clock. Yeah, that's completely over. The subbed player now has exactly 10 seconds to step off the pitch at the nearest touchline. The real game changer here is the penalty if they ignore that 10-second rule. If the exiting player takes too long, the number 60 becomes extremely important. The replacement player has to wait a full 60 seconds on the sideline before they're allowed to enter the pitch. That means the team is forced to play a man down for an entire minute. It's a massive tactical punishment for cheap time wasting.
But wait, there's more. To stop teams from faking injuries just to break momentum and give coaches a sneaky tactical timeout, we now have the 1-minute injury sit-out. If medical staff have to come onto the pitch to treat a player, that player must leave the field for at least 1 full minute after play restarts. So again, the team plays temporarily shorthanded. The only exceptions here are for goalkeepers or if the injury was caused by a foul that resulted in a card. On top of this, mandatory hydration breaks are being strictly regulated to protect players in the summer heat without letting them become covert coaching sessions.
Section 3. Captains and referees only. When we think of the past, we often picture that chaotic mob rule where players completely crowd the referee. The new rule is incredibly simple. Captain only. Literally, only the team captain is allowed to approach and speak to the referee. Any other player who protests or gets involved? Instant yellow card. This massively elevates the role of both the referee and the captains, establishing the ref as an untouchable authority figure on the pitch.
Running right alongside this newly empowered referee, the Video Assistant Referee System, VAR, is getting a major upgrade too. In 2026, VAR will have the authority to intervene on clear errors involving second yellow cards that lead to a red. They can also step in for incorrect corner or throw-in decisions and cases of mistaken identity. So the safety net for the referee is getting significantly tighter.
Section 4. Harsher punishments in discipline.
Looking completely impartially at how the rulebook is tackling player and coach behavior, there's a highly publicized new element, the red card for mouth covering. Referees now have explicit permission to hand out direct red cards to players who cover their mouths to hide insults from cameras and microphones during a confrontation. This is a direct response to recent incidents, like the clash between Vinicius Jr. and Gianluca Presta, And by the way, this stricter code of conduct doesn't just stop at the touchline. It applies to coaches and staff too, who will face severe disciplinary action for misconduct.
To really grasp why this rule was created, we just have to look at the rationale from the top. FIFA President Gianni Infantino was very clear about this in the source material. If a player covers their mouth and says something with racist implications, they're getting sent off. Quote, "If you don't have something to hide, you don't hide your mouth when you say something." It's as simple as that.
There's also a new crackdown on collective protests. We're seeing the introduction of an automatic forfeit for teams or coaching staffs who demonstratively walk off the pitch in protest of a referee's decision. The sources point to a recent friendly match where the Senegalese national team walked off because they felt a penalty call was unfair. From 2026 onwards, staging a walk-off out of protest will be mercilessly punished with an automatic loss, period.
Section 5. The Anti-Racism Protocol.
Sadly, reports show that racist mass chanting has increased six-fold in recent times. As an institutional response to this massive spike, FIFA is rolling out a new player empowerment tool, the No Racism Gesture. It's visually represented by crossing your arms to form an X. If a player or official on the pitch is targeted by or witnesses racial abuse, they can officially trigger the protocols with the referee by simply making this X gesture.
Once that X is thrown up, a clear, methodical three-step procedure kicks in. Step 1. The referee stops the match, and an official warning is broadcast over the stadium speakers. If the abuse continues after the restart, we hit Step 2. The match is suspended, and both teams must leave the pitch for 15 minutes. If it still doesn't stop after that, Step 3. The referee abandons the match entirely. After that, heavy disciplinary sanctions follow, anything from fines to empty stadiums or even an automatic forfeit for the team whose fans were responsible.
Now, in practice, there are vastly different perspectives on this. FIFA's stance is that this protocol gives power back to players globally, emphasizing that human dignity now officially takes priority over finishing a live televised game. But critics, like the Australian PFA, see it entirely differently. They argued that in literally no other workplace in the world would it be acceptable to give abusers a few more chances while the employee continues to suffer. For them, this phased approach just doesn't protect workers immediately or effectively enough.
When we pull all of this information together, one thing is totally clear. The 2026 World Cup is going to be an absolute first of its kind. It's an unprecedented collision between the historic, untamed passion that made football great and a new, ultra-strict modern discipline designed to guarantee the flow of the game and the safety of everyone on the pitch. And that brings our analysis full circle to a pretty profound question for you to think about. When the tournament kicks off and billions of people are watching worldwide, will prioritizing human dignity and a faster-paced game actually succeed against the immense commercial pressures and the demands of TV broadcasters for a seamless show? It's going to be absolutely fascinating to watch. Thanks for joining us for this analysis.